la la. Oh, breath of life, prophetic is love. It makes me take a stand. I will stand in the palm of love's hand, 'cause I know who I am. La 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 la. Oh yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All over the Congress, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. All over the halls of Congress, I'm gonna let it shine. All over the halls of Congress, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine now. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I got the light of justice, I got the light of justice, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I got the light of justice, I'm gonna let it shine. I got the light of justice, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh yeah. And for the ecology, I'm gonna let it shine. Yes, yes, for Mother Earth, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, and for our ecology, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. En español, esta lucecita tiene que brillar. Oh, esta lucecita tiene que brillar. Oh, esta lucecita tiene que brillar. Brillará, brillará, brillará. Oh, y por todo mi barrio tiene que brillar. Por todo mi barrio tiene que brillar. Oh, por todo mi barrio tiene que brillar. Brillará, brillará, brillará. Oh, oh, oh. And for immigrant justice, I'm gonna let it shine. And for immigrant justice, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. And for immigrant justice, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, brillará, let it shine, brillará, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, oh, let it shine, brillará, let it shine.
All right, thank you, Francisco. Good morning, Ignatian family. Now you might be wondering, why is Chris yelling? Well, usually at this point in the teach-in, we are standing just a block away from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Everyone is dressed up, looking sharp, and ready to head to the U.S. Capitol for meetings with their representatives and senators. And while clearly that's not happening today, I am yelling because I'm excited. I'm energized. I'm pumped up for the ways that each of you will take your experience of the Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice out into the world in the coming days and beyond. In the short term, I hope that your response to the teach-in will come in the form of continued reflection and prayer on what you have experienced from our speakers, our musicians, and your fellow IFTJ delegates throughout our time together. And that this reflection will be part of you and your heart as you head to the ballot box or encourage others to do so in the coming days. Voting should be an act of love, with the choices we make rooted in our concern, not just for ourselves, but for each other, all God's people and creations. This morning, we are going to hear from 3 speakers who will offer very personal reflections on key issues that the Ignatian Solidarity Network focuses on, responding to the realities of climate change, the situation of immigrants in our country and at our border, and dismantling the unjust, systematically racist structures of our criminal justice system. Now, before we begin, I would like to introduce Crystal and Alyssa for our opening prayer.
God of sacred action, this past weekend, we committed to living as people who strive for prophetic resilience.
We broke down our limited perspectives and the complexities of the injustice that weigh heavy on your people. We built up a space where the stories of those rarely centered became our sacred text, and visions of a world ruled by kinship rather than demonization. We broke down and built up. We prepared ourselves to act, to lay the bricks of the beloved community.
As we take action, may we draw upon our new knowledge of inequity, shared stories, and this energy of the teach-in community, enlivening the music of our hearts. When we advocate in our own communities at large, vote on behalf of those who cannot, and form creative solutions to dehumanizing systems, We are actively building the beloved community. As we begin this day and for our lives to come, we ask you for prophetic resilience, to act even when we are exhausted or lonesome or delayed progress.
We may not be able to see now the justice we are building, but one day we will know our actions as part of the legacy of a blossoming, all-embracing community, where all are loved without conditions and without limits. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Crystal and Alyssa, and also to Chloe Becker, one of our interns, for authoring that beautiful prayer. I would like to introduce our first public witness speaker, Anna Robertson, who will offer a reflection on our call to respond to the realities of climate change. Anna is a campus minister for retreats at Seattle University. Prior to her current role, she had supported families of women experiencing incarceration, conducted research on collective memory in El Salvador, and coordinated international immersions in Latin America. Anna has her Master's of Theological Studies degree from the Boston College School of Theology and Ministry, and her Bachelor of Arts in Theology from Xavier University. Let's give a warm Ignatian family welcome to Anna.
Hey friends, my name is Anna Robertson, and I am tuning in from Seattle University Campus Ministry, where I am campus minister for retreats. And I'm here to share a little bit about my passion for climate justice and the hopes that it might energize your passion for climate justice as well, or perhaps nourish one that already exists. Let me start by just telling a brief story about a conversation that I had with a friend almost a year ago now. I was talking to my friend about how it can be so difficult to turn toward the reality of climate change, right? There's so much bad news. It's so scary and can just really take its toll on my nervous system. And my friend told me, you know, when I think about a possible climate future in my lifetime, I don't know if this area, you know, outside of Seattle is going to become uninhabitable. But what does seem realistic is that I would be asked to really expand my hospitality as greater numbers of climate refugees migrate here. And there was something about that moment that really shifted something in me. So first, it dropped me down into my heart. And this is, I think, such an important place to be in this work. But it also helped me realize a few things, right? First is that in each crisis, we have an opportunity to show up in ever greater love. And this is not to reduce tragedies to growth opportunities, right? There can be some real issues with that. No, but each crisis invites us to show up in ever greater love. So whether it's a call to hospitality or something else, climate crisis does present us this opportunity to be a part of something greater than ourselves, right? And another thing that this helped me realize is that everything happening in the world right now is happening in the context of climate change. So whatever your issue is that you're passionate about, whatever communities you belong to, and whatever hardship those communities might be facing is exacerbated by climate change, or at least impacted by it, right? You know, Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si, he wrote, "Nothing in this world is indifferent to us," right? So we need to shift how we conceive of what it means to be human, to accommodate our fundamental relationality with all things. There's been this myth of individualism that's predominated for so long, and Pope Francis really calls this into question, and he's in alignment here with a lot of the world's religious traditions, in that we're fundamentally connected, right? We see that with the Trinity, right? In our image of God, there's this fundamental relationality. We belong to the family of things. And so of course we grieve. We're the earth grieving itself. You know, the same individualism that has created and sustained climate change also drives widespread inequality. And another thing that my Catholic faith provides me as a touch point is this preferential option for the poor, right? And so this means a few things, but one of the things that it means is that there's prophetic voices that are coming from the margins, right? There's a real call to listen to the frontline communities. They've already been having this fight, climate justice. So there's a preferential option for their voice. There's this recognition that the frontline communities, those who are on the margins, are really close to this reality and have a particular prophetic wisdom. You know, a transition is going to happen whether we show up for it or not, because the earth can't sustain our way of life. So it's our responsibility to show up and to ensure that the rights of the most vulnerable are protected. So I'll leave you with a few words of advice. You can take it or leave it, right? But first is find your people. Sometimes easier said than done, especially in these times of global pandemic. But we need community for this, and there are countless groups working for climate justice throughout the world. So find your people. Second, get into your heart and into your body. So find practices that allow you to turn toward the bad news, to move through your grief, and to get creative about making good news in the world. And that starts here in our heart. So find those practices that help you come from here and drop down into your body. Whatever your issue is, you know, as you're advocating with legislators, ask the question, how is this impacted by climate change? And if you look, you will find a connection. And finally, listen to the frontline communities and work to ensure that they're protected. So as you're advocating with your legislators, whether on climate change or other issues, really, really just remember to ask the question, how are the most vulnerable going to be impacted by this? And how can we work to ensure that they're protected? So that's some words of wisdom or otherwise that I'll leave you with today. Enjoy the rest of the teach-in. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Anna. Now let's welcome our next speaker, Taidi Garcia, who will share a call to action to stand with our brothers and sisters who are immigrants. Taidi is a senior at St. Peter's University, studying criminal justice and anthropology. She's been organizing at St. Peter's to help her classmates understand about our broken immigration system and be a more welcoming campus for undocumented and DACA recipient students. After college, Taidi plans to become an immigration lawyer to help undocumented immigrants in her community. Let's give a big welcome to Taidi.
When I was 6 years old, I remember watching a novela with my younger cousin and her parents, and a breaking news came on the screen. And at the time, I was too young to fully understand what was going on. I came to find out that it was something about immigration. The news came on and everyone got quiet. All eyes were focused on that news report. The report only lasted a couple of minutes, but the silence that filled up the room, even after the report ended, I felt like it lasted forever. My tia broke the silence first, and she pulled my cousin and me aside, and she told us really seriously, you can't tell anybody that we don't have papers. You know, if they ask you where you're from, you could say Mexico, you could say Guatemala, but your parents are from California. So from that first time at 6 years old, I was trained to build this narrative, how to never reveal my family's immigration status and how my parents are from California. They may have descended from Mexico and Guatemala, but they're from California. And I know a lot of people see that as a way of showing your children a lie. And while some may see it as that, the way we saw it was always as a way to keep our family together. Ever since that first moment, we always spoke about immigration like if it was a big secret. My mom would always tell me, las paredes tienen oídos, you know, the walls have ears. It was our secret. We only spoke about it at home. in very hushed voices so that nobody could overhear us. My dad would tell me, "Mija, si algún día me llevan, tú tienes que seguir echándole ganas," which basically translates to, if they ever take me, you have to keep going. And then when I turned 11, my dad was driving around and he found himself blocked in by ICE. They asked him for his papers and he didn't have any, so they took him. This happened the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. So he was detained in the late afternoon. And because it was a holiday weekend, he wouldn't be entered into any of their systems until at least Tuesday. And my mom's also undocumented. So the last thing that we wanted was for her to also get caught up. My family came over, and at the time, one of my older cousins was the only person in my family other than myself that had papers. So we drove around all of New Jersey, at least, trying to see different detention centers or trying to find out if we could find where my dad was. Every place we went kind of met us with the same answer. Well, he's not in the system. I can't do anything for you. Under the Obama administration, they had a policy that basically classified offenders. Those that were seen as high risk were deported first, and then those that were lesser risk were granted a stay of removal. So my dad at the time actually was allowed to remain in this country because of a stay of removal order. However, with the Trump administration, they ended that. And under the current administration, their policy is that all undocumented immigrants are made a top priority for removal. And that's where my dad fell under. In April 2019 was actually the last time I was able to see my dad.
¿Quién dijo que todo está perdido? Yo vengo a ofrecer mi corazón. Tanta sangre que se llevó el río. Yo vengo a ofrecer mi corazón. No será tan fácil. No sé qué pasa, no será tan simple como pensaba, como abrir el pecho y sacar el alma, una cuchillada del amor. Luna de los pobres siempre abierta. Yo vengo a ofrecer mi corazón como un documento inalterable. Yo vengo a ofrecer mi corazón y uniré las puntas de un mismo lazo y me iré tranquilo, me iré despacio y te daré todo, tú me darás algo que me alivie un poco más. La 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 yeah.
Thank you, Francisco, and thank you, Taidi, for sharing your story with us. We are honored to walk with you and your family as allies and fellow Ignatian family members. And now I would like to introduce our final speaker, Miguel Lugo, a good friend of the Ignatian family from Homeboy Industries. After successfully completing Homeboy's 18-month trainee program, Miguel worked his way to the senior staff and is now the head of security at Homeboy. During his time there, he has also worked on various issues affecting the Homeboy community and those still incarcerated. This includes California's Proposition 47 campaign, which recategorized some nonviolent offenses as misdemeanors rather than felonies, as they had previously been categorized, and the Ban the Box campaign, a national effort to remove the checkbox that asks if applicants have a criminal record from hiring applications. Let's welcome Miguel.
Hi, my name is Miguel Lugo from Homeboy Industries. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in front of the camera today. I want to talk about the justice system, how broken it is, and how it was meant to do this to a low-income community, especially the one I come from. After being incarcerated for 18 years, I got out to the LA County, not knowing what I was going through in my life. Thanks to Homeboy Industries, that gave me a chance to become a member of society by taking classes, being able to take anger management, AA, NA, parenting classes, and so many other things. But one of the greatest things that Homeboy offered me was therapy. Being able to find out who I really was and who I really am today, what makes me who I am today, was the greatest thing that Homeboy got to offer me. Through therapy and through working on myself here at Homeboy Industries, I was able to become Miguel Lugo once again. Not the kid that got jumped into a gang and became something else, but to become me. Like Father Greg says, to become what God intended me to be, not what my gang intended me to be, but to become a regular human being and become a member of the society and this community. And thanks to the other people here at Homeboy, I was able to go out there and be in front of different departments in the county and fight for the brothers and sisters that I left behind in prison. And that really empowered me, and it helped me be one person again in myself and say that I'm able to make a difference in my community by passing out food, by helping out people in my community. That's what makes a community. Now I'm able to say I am a father, I am a brother, I am a son. And here through Homeboy Industries and being able to go through all my programs that I went here and to rehabilitate myself here, because being incarcerated, I was never able to. I was just trying to survive when I was there. Now I'm here and I'm no longer surviving. I'm living life and enjoying life and being part of this new system that we're trying to build by having everybody go out there and vote and making this world a better place. Because the first place to start is here at home. Here in the United States, we need to become one again, one people, one nation. As my Native American brothers say, we are all one. And not until we can become one, we'll become the greatest nation in the world. Thank you for giving me some time to be able to do this video. And thank you for all you guys that are out there voting, the 18 years old all the way to 60 years old. Thank you for showing up and voting for what your conscience said. But the main thing I want to express to everybody here is your vote will make a change in my life. Your vote will make a change in my community. So please go out there and vote and be part of this new way of life. In Homeboy Industries, Father Greg always says that here we start everything with love and kinship. And that's what we need in this nation, love and kinship and unity. So let's work together to become one. For the younger generations, that's your first time voting, please be part of this new system that we need to create for ourselves. It's very important, and we need everybody's vote out there. We need everybody to vote and to be part of this new way of life that we're trying to live, because we're the next generation that have to live this way of life. So please vote, be part of this. With prayer and with love and kinship, we will become one. Thank you once again, and make it happen. Go vote.
We need to vote and organize. Freedom can't come to the people rise. We need to vote and organize. Freedom can't come to the people rise. We need to vote, and organize. Freedom can't come to the people rise. We need to vote, and organize. Freedom can't come to the people rise.
Ignatian family, I talked about how we can act on the teach-in in the next week or so. Now I want you to think a little bit longer term. To next March, when we mobilize the Ignatian Network for Ignatian Family Advocacy Month. 31 full days of challenging our communities to learn about and take action on issues like the realities of climate change, the situation of our immigrant brothers and sisters, and systematic injustice embedded in our criminal justice system. Each of you, whether you are a veteran advocate or just getting started, can be part of IFAM. So please make sure to sign up today to begin receiving information about next March. And as we close our time together, I want to say again how grateful we are for your presence here this past week. We are so excited to continue this journey together, one Ignatian family, working with prophetic resilience, breaking down, building up. And now for our closing song by Francisco that includes messages from throughout the teach-in weekend. Peace.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Come on.
Hey, now. Break it down, build it up. We got way more than enough. Break it down, build it up. Cause my people know what's up. Break it down, build it up. We got way more than enough. Break it down, build it up. My people know what's up.
We got so much, like an overflowing cup. We are beautiful, powerful, waterfall of love. And I'm basking in all of your magic. And I'm asking what you want to make happen. Peace is the North Star, chilling in the backyard. You don't have an egg heart, everybody down. You might have to get at me, cause spirit get ahead of me. God, we feeling freedom in the room right now.
Break it down, build it up. We got way more than enough. Break it down, build it up. Cause my people know what's up. What's up? What's up with humanity? Always in love and ready to give. That is the reality, though some will think it ain't to be now.
If I told you that I loved you right now, would you turn around and tell me pipe down? Would you trust me or just cut me right down? Treat me justly, would you take the high ground? Stick around and just set your pride down? In this country, up to me, I'm Mike Brown. Peace poets on a mission, we can never put the mic down. Or Jimmy Hinton, no human is illegal. Black lives matter, all power to the people.
Break it down, build it up. We got way more than enough. Break it down, build it up. Cause my people know what's up. Break it down, build it up. We got way more than enough. Break it down, build it up. Cause my people know what's up. Oh, what's up? Prophetic resilience is what wakes up the conscience. And you've got it deep inside. You just listen up and let it fly. Yeah, we got way more than enough. Break it down. My people know what's up. Break it down. We got way more than enough. Break it down. My people know what's up.